episode. I would not be one because I have a hard time pronouncing that word, of A Storyteller's Guide to the Universe, a Writer's Drinking Whiskey joint here. That's right, I'm Spike Lee now, or perhaps just, terribly high. Perhaps both. Who's to say there's a difference? With this being the first show with this format, I thought it would kind of behoove us to have a little introduction on what we'll be doing here during our weekly live stream. So I'm going to be trying to multi-stream these. I am an old man that does not know technology, so if you're on the Facebook, I think you may be able to see my face. If you're on the TikTok, maybe you can see my face. YouTube, you should definitely be able to see my face. And for the first time, or I'm usually just introducing other people. Take a quick moment here. So I'm a writer myself, probably critically best known for a little short story collection by Kirkus Reviews and got one of their fancy stars. And commercially probably best known for this little ditty here. If I'm showing it, look, I'm looking at the screen. A Fire for Christmas, which is a satirical collection of short stories set around Christmas, obviously, that's interwoven with some letters. That's also fairly well won an American Fiction Award, International Book Award, yada, yada, yada. The really cool part, really distinct, I think, unique part is that I've spent the last few years, it goes way beyond interviewing. I've spent the last few years connecting with writers, storytellers of all ilks. So major award winners, Pulitzer Prize winners, Hugo winners, Edgar winners, whatever award you're looking for. I've probably talked to people that have won them, New York Times bestsellers, all the way down to people just starting out. So people with one book, two books, trad, indie, you name it, including people, we started branching out now with people that aren't even writers. So I've had master distillers coming on a little later this month. I'll preview in one of these shows and will be released. So I have a really distinct storyteller perspective on things. So I'm also a kid from the 80s. So I grew up with Unsolved Mysteries. Robert Stack, speaks to me still in my head, usually scolding. So it's perhaps an issue. So we'll be topical here, not a news broadcast, but we'll have topics much like Unsolved Mysteries did. So if you watch the show, I love my here, I got one here, my Sasquatches. Which we'll be previewing because the next episode happens to be about a Sasquatch. UFOs, ghosts, we'll go over paranormal things, we'll go over true crime, cases, lost loves, whatever name. If you saw it on Unsolved Mysteries, we'll cover it here, not just mysteries, but military tech. My dad was a aerospace engineer for I think all of my life, most of my life, until he retired. And we'll come at it from a storyteller's perspective, and we'll kind of define that as we go. So I am going to have co-hosts on the show, not this particular one because I wanted to be here for you. But we'll have co-host on from the cast of Writers Drinking Whiskey, if I can say my show's name. From the family there coming on and co-hosting with me. We'll also have authors Stop and Chat, as Larry David would say, from Curb Your Enthusiasm. So we'll have them come on and stop and see how they're doing, see what the newest book is, what have you. We'll talk industry news. And as a writer myself, like I mentioned before, I recently started writing full-time, podcasting full-time like this, so I'll cover a little bit of that. So if you're a writer out there kind of trying to make that transition or considering it, I'll go over the triumphs and pitfalls and what have you. And I'll also be giving kind of sneak peeks on my magna opus, if that's the way you say that word, the epic absurdist satire I've been writing for the last, probably like an adult child amount of years, Pirates of Appalachia. I'm going to have a sneak peek of that for you today, so I'll read you guys the working, pretty much done, depending on publication time, prologue of that. So I'll give some sneak peeks on that, my life, towards the end of the show. So if you're more into topics, we start there. So let's get to one very important thing, though, is having done all these years, we have our first corporate sponsor. And I have to give them a shout out, and I'm going to see, look, this is going to be really fancy. I'm going to pop up a promo code. And is it a box? Is it up? Is it? There we go. Close it. Oh, so promo code. So Fire Moon glasses. Let me show these here. Reached out. So if you are interested in getting some new glasses, super affordable, and I'll show you on the screen just how affordable. Affordable here, very stylish. Look, I'm stylish. No one ever says that about me, but I think with these glasses, perhaps, I'm not just a giant kind of drunken Scot Irish kind of that promo code. What does it say on my screen? JMS50 with that link. It'll also be in the description on YouTube. You get 50% off. And if you can see it on my screen here, let's see. I'm gonna see how fancy I am with the technology. Let's interact. If we can scroll down here, you see there are I have reading glasses. I spend most of my day in glasses. In fact, some of the shows I wear them. Not always, because I'm trying to strain immensely, because it starts to, anyone knows that needs glasses when you're driving for the far vision. Your eyes get tired, so I always feel like I need a nap when I'm driving, which on LA freeways can be a problem. And one of the things that gets me, and I don't like to spend all the money on them, but if you go on FireMoo, you see them on here, $19, $25. You can cut half of that off. So if you are interested in some glasses and you want to support a starving artist, namely me, please go on there, check it out. Like I said, the link will be there. And if you are a booze company, speaking of sponsors here, we're going to have a special little treat here to see who does it first. I can't, wait, I did it. Oh, I did it. You can get a prime spot and not just be the black and gold, up there. So, thanks for that. So let's get, what was that? Breaking news, coming in. Let's see. Did we get a breaking news? Oh, I couldn't make the sound work. Let's make the sound work with my mouth. Do. This just in from all reportable, refutable news sources. Reputable, which someone in a chat tell me how to speak. Reputable news sources. All sports, it has been agreed by all sports leagues that the greatest franchise in the entire history of the world is from the Steel City, otherwise known as the City of Bridges. Little fact, more bridges than Venice, Italy. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Pittsburgh Steelers have just been announced as the greatest franchise in sports history. There's no more debate. It is again confirmed 100% by the news. Just that there. Getting to our second story after that breaking news. I thought, so talking about UFOs and craziness, and let's see, I had sound effects. I'm going to see if I can get any of them to work. There we go. That was terrifying and haunting all at once. So I did want to, getting into the topics here, one of the things I really enjoy, I have all the unsolved mysteries. I'm going to say that a lot this episode and then probably a lot next episode. So just be prepared to mock me. One of the things I loved, though, was when they would tackle a subject, it wasn't just always like, is this real or not, or this or that. It was they would look at it from different ways. So they would have a ghost story. They have a paranormal researcher that would come on and go, maybe this is psychic phenomenon. Maybe it is the souls of the deceased, whatever it might be. There was an interesting one that came up. Anyone that watches the show, let's see if I can pop on that here. But anyone that watches the show knows that I grew up in Palmdale, California. As we say, it's not the swanky, Palm Springs, California. That people think of with, all the swanky people and their parties. Is that working? Twitter videos work for me. So I grew up in Palmdale, California. It's always been kind of a hot spot for UFOs. This may not be working for the Twitter videos here. Let's see if I can get this next one working. that one's going. So one of the things though with Palmdale, so if you've ever seen where like the B2 comes out when they unveil it and the hangar opens and they have everything there, that is a couple miles from where I grew up, right along Sierra Highway that runs north through south through the valley there. So there's always been lots of UFO sightings, but it's always been a bit of there's lots of testing. There's Edwards Air Force Base out a little, what would that be? It'd be northeast at Palmdale, but there's Lockheed Martin. There's a lot of aerospace going on there. So I in fact, me and my wife should have him on one of these days to kind of talk about our UFO sighting. But I had one UFO sighting when we were out hiking, and it was not outlandish and be 10-second story here, but the UFO came in from the horizon. Let's say it would have been the eastern horizon, and it made just straight across, soundless, straight across, and it kind of looked like an SR-71 Blackbird, but with on the sides almost like Enterprise engines. If that makes sense. The Enterprise little like warp engines or whatever they are sticking out on the side, bonks over there. So. And that went straight over us, completely silent, kind of in the dusk, so you could see the shadow and the outline of it really perfectly as it went dark. And I never thought aliens per se at the time, because I'd grown up around, they were testing all these planes and things, so I figured it was some government thing. I've yet to see it, but that's kind of was my our impression of it at the time, or at least mine. And so, and I was researching that a little. It turns out there was also kind of drone incursions over Plant 42. That's where I mentioned where Lockheed and things are. If you can see on there, see this working. If you can see on there, but and so the Air Force Base. Noises are happening on my thing here. The base and things, the top secret areas. So maybe people, joking around, playing around with their drones, trying to get, I would bet that would be a lot of it, because Palmdale is a special place, and we would love to fly our drone over something. Maybe the entire world is that special place now, where we want to, fly our drone over top secret information and be able to post about it and talk about how cool we are. The story of it, right, is, okay, there's the people seeing unidentified things. Then you have the Air Force Base coming out and saying, hey, there's these drones coming over. And, the government's always so 100% honest, with everyone, right? The opposite part of that, if I can get this one to pop up, is that the government has been working on for quite some time. And you hear about this. We talk Ukraine, all these the wars and things going on. Is drones, and the government, our government, the U.S. government. If you're in the U.S. with me here, see if I can click that off. Has been working on. Nothing works for me today. It's my first time. It's my first day. I need training. Has been working on drone swarms. So they want hives, right, of these drones that kind of overwhelm your defenses. And there was a picture of one here. Let me see if I can get this. Get out of my way. All right. I'll figure this out. Give me time, y'all. Give me time. But yeah, so the government's been working on, those drone hives coming through. And so the interesting part, right, and what made me kind of bring this up today is that people, and maybe there is a few people, but is it really that there's so many people flying drones over the base, or are they actually working on the drone swarms there? I don't know. I have no insider information. My dad, in fact, had a top secret clearance, but he would always tell me that he was going to kill me. And he wasn't one of those like, oh, if I tell you I have to kill you, it was just, I'm going to kill you. So I don't know if it was about, secrets or just that I'm intolerable. Either way, I have no insider information. It just was something I thought was kind of an interesting angle to it. As we start seeing, you see all those dots, which is one of those pictures. There's just all the dots up in the sky. And you see that sometimes with UFOs, and they kind of move around to funny angles. That could also, that don't make sense for pilots. Not the Tic Tacs, not some of the ones that are really kind of out there. But some of the more ones where it's just a bunch of bright lights kind of floating that aren't flares, because there's things that our government doing something, we'll find out about it in 10 years. I don't know. Be interesting what everyone thinks from there. So how we doing on time? So the next one topic we had here for today is I thought it would be fun, since we're talking storytelling, is to do some pop made good. I did not have a special sound effect for this one, so we're going to skip the sound effect. But what I thought would be a fun idea here is to take some piece of pop culture that people are unhappy with for whatever various reasons. I'm not going to throw any storytellers under the bus with any of this, especially with corporate media. I know just even publishing, which is probably even less than making a TV show, the other hands that can get involved with that. And so you as the primary storyteller may have a great idea and want to go through with it, and then by the time kind of everyone's played with it, it comes out something new. So it's kind of a collective success and their collective failures. So I'm not going to throw anyone's name under, but I am going to try to take some concepts that have come out perspective, take those key elements, and then make it something interesting. So I'm going to just immediately, because I'm a masochist, go into some dicey area here and talk about The Acolyte. I said I grew up in the 80s, so I grew up a Star Wars fan like most people. I don't watch much of it nowadays. I have a 13-year-old son, but he's never gotten completely into it. We did start to watch the original trilogy again, a few weeks back, but he hasn't gotten into any of the new Star Wars. So what I want to do then is just as a thought experiment, and let me know how I do. Like, how would we take the core precepts of the Acolyte and turn that into something that was more satisfying? We wanted kind of a female perspective on that. All cool. I'm happy to play with both of those, and then kind of and to have it kind of before, right? So one of the things, I've watched like 5 minutes of it, seen a few little clips here and there. As a general rule, and I would say this to the producers and things out there too, and the higher ups that kind of like to jump in here, because I feel like a lot of times it's like we have to fit in, Baby Yoda wherever we can, whatever it is. I think sometimes you get so big, right? You saw this with Marvel. Everything became, there's the Battle of New York. They're fighting over New York. And then it became, now they're fighting over their city, but the city's floating up into the sky and it's going to end the world. And then it's end half the life in the universe. And there's this scale creep, right? The scope creep, where it goes over and over. A Sith, like as an organization, what I think would be a really interesting angle to take with that show and that general premise is to explore the origins of the dark side within an individual, right? So if I was going to do it, it wouldn't be about Sith organization. You could set it back the High Republic, whatever ages, I don't know. I'm a middle-aged man, guys, and some of this I can't bother. I can't be bothered. But set it wherever you want. But what I would do is you set it and you have that female character, make it about the origins of the dark side within her. I know they had one kind of a crime element. There's always been a crime element to Star Wars that it's always been fascinating, kind of on the periphery. When they kind of explore it a little more head on, this never, I don't think, hit the way they hoped. I think Solo, which I actually liked, tried, but didn't get the response they wanted, so that kind of died on the vein there. So I think what you could do is have that girl. She's kind of indebted to the crime family. No virgins, no magical, like otherworldly magicalness abilities that she can use to get out of that situation. So the Force is one thing, but she could be ingenuity. I would do a couple of things. One is, have her be clever. I think one thing is also have her have the ability that willingness to suffer. Because with Star Wars, they've always kind of wrapped the dark side around suffering and things. I joke that my only talent is a dogged determination and a willingness to suffer for what I want. it's a joke. It's also a quality that you could really see in a character, is that willing to go do those hard things to be put through hell to get what she wants. And in this case, she's trying to move up that criminal organization. And as she goes, as she's kind of struggling, but she's advancing within it, you get little glimpses of that force power coming out with the dark side. So maybe she has really intense visions of a future that could be, but it's always a dark as well. So try to hit on that darkness. There's also the spice trade, which I heard now they're like spice cream. I always thought it was drugs. I'm fairly certain it was drugs. And if not, we're gonna make it about drugs, because it's a seedy underworld. And so if she's moving up in that, I think you need to go so heavy on it. It doesn't need to be like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, but enough to where you're seeing the effects of substance abuse on her as she goes. And that's also growing, kind of that dark side in her. And so as you see her growing and getting closer to going she's looking for, you're also seeing the effects of that triumph on one hand is also deleterious. It's also taking away. It's also eating away at her soul to a degree over here, and that's forming as the dark side in here. You want to wrap in. I've always thought it was weird that it's only Jedis like investigating everything. It's like these special monks that do everything. So you kind of plug them in everywhere. What I thought, if you wanted to get that kind of murder mystery in this, maybe go ahead and stick with a Jedi's been murdered. But rather than it needing to be some Sith assassin or something, I think Jedis could be murdered by bounty hunters. They could be murdered by lots of people. So, and I would also think a galaxy as big as the Star Wars galaxy would have detectives and things of that nature. So, I think what you could do is that side of that parallel plot there is have a detective, guy, girl, whatever you want, whoever you can get the best cast for, have them looking into what that murder was. That murder be associated with that crime family, and then now you start having them headed together. It was a Jedi, so now maybe you can even get a little bit of an odd couple over here with maybe like a detective that's a little more hard-boiled, not force sensitive, but really bright, figuring things out, and then with a Jedi that maybe has some relationship, with that other Jedi. And so now you have this Jedi that is almost bent on revenge, which is not a light side concept, with another person who is trying to get out of oppression, but is also really getting dark as they try to do that. And you put them on a collision course. You could, of course, have, crime boss here or there with that relationship. There's a lot you could build on, but I think those are the elements as we talk Pop Made Good. If you take those elements, I think there's a lot of ways you could take it from there. And I think you bring it personal down to where like one murder matters. We don't need to kill 97 Jedis. Let's have one of them die, and that matter. Let's have one person that's undergoing a real transformation and really be able to kind of follow her along and go with that. And have someone, if you want to talk about, we've already seen Jedi hubris lead to, a huge downfall, right? And Revenge of the Sith, they're like dying off in droves. I think you would also get on that flip side. I think you get the chance to see someone march into something a little different, where potential downfalls that Jedi going to the dark side, and that leads and so now you're saying, okay, this person's looking out for revenge. You have a detective that's just trying to get to the bottom of it, getting into a crime world, and then you get to really dive into that crime world. I would also remember, as you're doing this, as you dress it, let's try to visit some new places. No desert worlds. I grew up in the desert. I mentioned Palmdale. It's not, that great. I don't know why people keep basing their franchises where I grew up. Hubs, right? There are ports and things. Maybe you have something like that. I would also try to I wouldn't go too cheesy with it, but why wouldn't the gangsters and things have some cool text to kind of dress that up a little. I think you could also do that with a much lower budget. Don't have to change everything you're doing all the time. Try to keep the CGI. This doesn't need to be about ships, battling each other in space. You don't need to have any, perhaps, lightsaber battles in that. I'm sacrilegious, but share with him. Jedi maybe pulls it out once or twice. Maybe doesn't even use it. Maybe that's kind of the plot point, is at the end. Jedi doesn't use it and stays the light side and has to. I think it's time for a stop and chat. Nope. Stop and chat. Also, his own episode, Dario Cherriello, dear friend of mine, offered to be the guinea pig for our first stop and chat. So I am going to log him on here because something is going to work for me, and it is going to be awesome. Clubcam, show on screen. Let's see if it's working. You there, Daria? Hey, Daria, can you hear me?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Give me 1 second while I figure out said streaming technology.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Uh-oh.
Oh. All right, so let's see. See, again, I said, I'm very new at this. Give me some time. We're testing things out as we go.
Just a heads up, I'm getting a lot of delay and breakup on your audio.
Okay, so there we go. Now I can see your lovely face. Let's see, settings, all there. Yay! Mario Lucas liked my stream. Thank you so much, Mario. Thank you for sticking in there. Why is this so delayed? This really is a stop and chat. Everything has stopped on this this thing. So let me do a couple of things here. Yeah. Can you hear me okay, Dario, or are you still having a hard time hearing me?
No, I can hear you now. You seem a little clearer. Your image seems clearer too.
Oh, very good. Okay. So we'll see if this works. So let's do this because I wanted to make sure with the stop and chat we get a chance, and I got to change my screen size here so we can see you a little better. We had a chance here. So what I mentioned when I mentioned it to you, I wanted to do talk some Black Easter because I'm as far as being a middle-aged man, I'm also a Halloween nut, and I get super into Halloween. So I thought if you come on here, let me show it. I figured out how to put it on the screen. There's Black Easter. My copy, let's see, is this a signed copy? That's not, oh, that was sad, Daria, that you didn't give me a signed copy. I wonder
we'll
if you could
remedy that.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder then that maybe we just could start with there if you want to just give a quick background on Black Easter, the so-called elevator speech, if you like. Although we can be going down 20 flights as long as you like.
Yeah, well, I guess we're mixing holidays, really, Easter with Halloween. But that's okay because it's about witches and warlocks and really and possession. Kind of, what I was going for when I wrote the book, as you know, I wrote it a few years ago, but I wanted a traditional black magic book. And I wanted to put a whole new spin on the idea of hell and demons and things like that. So there's a Lovecraftian element, and of course, being British, I had to. Sorry, I'm getting echo on my voice. It's confusing me. I can't do anything about that. So being British, of course, I had to put a detective in it. You have to pit detectives against the ultimate forces of evil to have fun. So it's a very different book. It's a very different horror novel. I'm not even sure it's a horror novel, but I think it's a great Halloween read, and thank you for putting that out there.
Thanks for that. Are you still getting feedback?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm not getting the feedback anymore. There's just a big lag, like several seconds.
All right, so we'll try to make do. How am I? Okay. So I guess we'll try to make do as best we can, and we'll move on from there. But I think really what it strikes me as is a thriller, versus kind of a horror story or not. Is there's just the that danger you would associate with a thriller that kind of like permeates through. To where you're kind of, and it's an interesting thing too, because I think there's a bit of there's the danger of our bodily danger, right? Something happened to us. But Black Easter, you really get that danger, like of your like immortal soul kind of danger of it that goes through. So, and I like to mix holidays. I just throw them all together. But when I think danger and the occult and things, that always like this is a good time of year because the veils have thinned, is what I've heard. So. No.
Absolutely. Closer than anybody wants to believe.
Let me try.
And I'm not talking politics.
All right. Yeah, this is true. The forces of darkness can be all around us at all times, in many ways. So, all right. So let's see. I just tried something here to hopefully. So, are you still hearing any back talk on this?
No, I'm not. You've cut that out.
All right, I figured something out. Awesome.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah. So, beyond that, so maybe you could just tell us what you've been up to.
Wow. Well, if my hand, I'm not going to show you my hand. Would they look weird? Not leprosy. I've been painting our bathroom. And other than that, I've got, as you know, I'm getting that echo again. It's very distracting. Okay. As you know, I work as an editor and I also format books for clients too. So I'm busy with that work. It's the time of year when yard work keeps you busy. And I've got a super secret new writing project going on, which I'm not ready to unveil to the world yet, because the world is not feeling hurtful, and my project is at a vulnerable state.
Yeah, it's like you protect your baby from being
I'm sure every
scolded.
writer out there knows that feeling.
Right? Sure. Completely. Yeah, I get it completely. One of the we chatted a little bit before I started doing all this, but I don't like to talk about things really like midstream, and I've heard people say I forget who it was. I think it was a screenwriter, but they're talking like never tell anyone the story, because part of the reason you write it is the joy of being able to tell it. So if you start telling it before you're done, it hurts your incentive for wanting to finish. I don't know that I've ever had that. Once I kind of committed to something, I'm going to find some way to finish it. But I get that completely, because sometimes it's like okay, I'll talk pirates on the show, kind of like the journey I'm on here, kind of transitioning to writing full time and things, to be upfront and things. But there's also part of me that's like, no, that's like my little thing, I'm just going to go over here and be in my own little world and have pirates sack Pittsburgh. So why not?
I'm always, I never know how people who are in writing group, where they read a chapter every meeting or every few weeks, do it. If I were being critiqued at chapter by chapter level, I'd just cut my throat, lose all hope. I can't imagine that, you know.
Right. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I think some people like the accountability of it and just the playing along with it. But yeah, I get it can be really hard to. I always think of it, and especially I think the bigger the project, the more complicated the project. I think it especially applies for. But
Yeah.
I think progress versus progress versus milestones. I need to do this exact thing today. When you're working and when you're trying to get up the mountain, I want to do a mile. Well, sometimes the mountain is a little steeper. Sometimes the terrain's rocky. Sometimes, you're exhausted from the last 4 miles up that that hike. So that's how with Pirates, I really tried to think of it that way. It's like I just need to make progress today. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I'm just going through the last continuity edit. I try to do at least a chapter a day, just kind of to breeze through it because it's mostly there. But and the heavy lifting's been done. But I think if you try to do that, you're not taking a second ever occasionally to take in the view, really kind of see where you've been, where you're going. Take those hard days where you just need to get up 50 paces or climb up a cliff face. You can't always do that mile, and that I think if you try to do a writers group where you're trying to do that every time, it can if you're writing something simple enough, maybe it's okay. You're writing the same genre you've written and you're kind of complicated or different, and using that method.
Accountability is a really important thing for some people. I mean, that's why tens of thousands are going to do Nano next month. And I get the accountability, but the idea of actually putting your work out there for critique as you're developing it and getting it out is very difficult for me. But I'm kind of a secretive loner with my creative pursuits. Poetry is a snake. I have to do it on my own.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for that, Dario. I'll have to figure out the stream program here a little bit better as we go. So thank you so much for being the guinea pig. Come on, and I'll see if this one's even going to work. Maybe I just need to go to the tried and true Zoom here. But we'll figure that as we go. So thanks for stopping and chatting.
Thanks for having me, Bill. It was a pleasure, and hope you get it figured out, and I'll give you some feedback on the technical side later.
Awesome. Thanks, Dario. We'll chat later.
Bye, everyone. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye, Dario. All right. So, did I fix something? Let's see. There we go. All right. So let's finish off. We've been at it for 45 minutes. So I wanted to do 2 things here. One, as we go about doing this. So let me see new book releases. Let me pop this guy on. All right, so indie bookstore here. So this is the Avid Reader. This is in Berkeley, California, and it is. Let's see if I can interact with this. Put my face somewhere. There we go. You're watching on the TikTok, and now let me bop this book up. I really am a newbie. And also I'm a person that gets very excited about things and overextends. So that's where we're at, folks. So let's look at the new releases. I'll give you my little chat about where I am in the world, and then we'll get going. So none of these want to work today. All right. Anyway, so yeah, the Dr. Seuss Phonics Level 2 is a new release. Why will you not scroll, little box thing? All right, I'm cutting the technical difficulties. I apologize, everyone. But that is, I'll have the link on there. If you are looking for a book, it is really cool if you can check out the local bookstores. Most of them do have online, and they'll ship out to you and everything. You'll get competitive prices. Amazon's really not the cheapest place most of the time. In fact, I learned that the hard way. If you actually go on and you want to buy a tool or something, it's like, oh, go to Amazon, or you go to Home Depot or something, you'll find it cheaper half the time. So, but yeah, so if you want to check out the Avid Reader, it's a really cool bookstore, Berkeley, California, which is quite a bit north of me. But they have a nice website, it tells you what all the new releases are. And then when we have new releases on the friends and family of the show, I'll share them in this space as well. So, lastly for today, I was going to talk about my kind of transition here to writing full time over the last, I guess I've been at it for 3 months. So anyone that's watched the show knows that I was, corporate career. I was a director for quality regulatory medical device companies for a long time. Came up through the world that way, and formed the way I think a lot. Actually, it did help me with a lot of project management and things. One of the things with the corporate setting, and especially being someone that's team building and things, is the teamwork, right? You get to you spend a lot of time with people. You have office relationships. You have to cross departmental and things. You have a bit of a pack. And so I've been working from home for a long time. So one of the hard parts at first was kind of not having that pack around. I got through that, but the hard part for me actually was that I've been working on Pirates of Appalachia for, I think it's 13, 15 years, something like that now. So my son's 13. I think I've been working on it basically all his life. When I started going full time, my inclination was that this all needs to be done now. And so I put a lot of stress on myself to get things done. And it was kind of that what we were talking about with Dario just now, was that the progress versus milestones. Well, I was at I needed to be on top of the mountain, today. And if I wasn't, then I was kind of letting the family down. I was letting myself down. So that was actually the hardest part. The isolation. I should learn the word. There's a word for being an extrovert and an introvert. I'm kind of both, and there's that. So I kind of get that because I like to be out and about doing things like this, talking with everyone, and then I like just to be in my bubble. The bubble part I was fine with, but then there was a lot of stress that I was like, I need to be done with this. I need to record all the shows. I need to start a live stream. I need to, have it all done all at once. That was a real struggle. Kind of getting my mind around that everything doesn't have to be done today. You need to make progress. You need to move on. So that's where it was. The really nice part is I wanted to finish Pirates up really in earnest. The whole manuscript's written. It's just final editing. I've said on the show I'm kind of a sculptor, so I like to kind of get something, and then once I have the material, I have that first draft, I can really play with it and dig in and kind of figure it out. So that's where we're at. So with that, the good part is though the consistent time, right? They always say try to find consistent time. That was a real plus. It really made finding that consistent time get my son to school. Most days I have a nice, really nice chunk of morning time all to myself to work on the writing. So, all right. So we are way beyond time. So let's just close this. So with noting what we're going to do for the next show on Thursday. So I mentioned we had Sasquatch coming. Oh, he's walking across. Oh, no, there we go. Now he's walking. And now she's walking. Coming. So I was lucky enough to have Matt Pruitt on the show. It's going to be airing this Thursday, 10:03. In the morning, if you want to catch that. Matt wrote the book, The Phenomenal Sasquatch, where he talks about Sasquatch as a phenomenon. what it could be, what, you know, how people that claim to see it, et cetera, et cetera. And he was nice enough. We spent, I think the show's 3.5 hours, so we must have spent 4 hours on on a Zoom call talking Sasquatch, or anything you'd ever want to hear about the Sasquatch. You'll be able to kind of get the broad overviews, dig deeper if you like from there. If you're just kind of peripherally interested, you can go, and they're all bookmarked, so you can also go to the sections you're on. So let me see. I was hoping to show you to end the show just a bit, if it'll pop up for me. If not, this thing's just betrayed me, and here we go.